Hello and welcome to the MLA Citation Elements tutorial. In this video I'm going to cover the various elements of an MLA citation. I will be using the MLA study guide found on the library's homepage. There can be up to 9 elements in an MLA citation, but the nice thing is if you do not have the information, simply skip that element and move on to the next. The citation should be left margin aligned for the first line, and subsequent lines will have hanging indentations. Your entries will be placed in alphabetical order by the author's last name, and the core elements of your citation will follow a standard order. Note that the punctuation at the end of each element will be used in the citation. The first element of our citation will be the author or authors. We will start with the author's last name, followed by a comma, then the rest of their name as it appears on the source material. If you have 2 authors, list the first author, the same as we did before, followed by a comma, and then the second author's name as it appears on the source material. If your source has 3 or more authors, list the first author as we've done before, followed by a comma, et al. For a group author, use the full name of the organization. If you cannot find an individual or organization responsible for authorship, you will leave this element out and move on to the title. So the next part of our citation will be the title. This element can be the title of a book, an article, or a website. If the source is a book, the title will be in italics and all the major words will be capitalized. If the source is a periodical or a web page, the title will be in quotation marks and all the major words will be capitalized. The next element will be the container. Think of this element as the larger whole that contains your source, hence container. This can be a book of collected writings by different authors, journals, magazines, or websites. The container will be in italics and all the major words will be capitalized, and end with a period. The next element, other contributors, is an optional element. This will only be used if the contributor's work is important to your research. For example, a translator, or in the case of a graphic novel, the illustrator. Moving on, we will add the version element. Some sources will have more than one version. For example, an edition of a book or the director's cut of a movie. This element will be followed by a comma. Again, if you don't have the information, go ahead and move on to the next element. Some articles, such as scholarly journals, will have both a volume and an issue number. The volume number will be abbreviated as VOL period, then the number and a comma. The issue number will be NO period, then the number ending with a comma. Next on our list is the publisher. The publisher is the entity responsible for producing the source being used. This can be a publishing company, movie studio, or the host of a website. This element will end with a comma. Following the publisher will be the publication date. This can take a couple different forms. Some may just be the year, in the case of books. Others will have the day, month, and year. When you come across a source that has multiple dates, use the one that is most relevant. In MLA, the month with longer names will be abbreviated. Now, for books, use the most recent copyright. For periodicals, use the date the issue was released. And for websites, use the most recent update. If this is the last element of your citation, as is the case for most books, end with a period. If you have more information, such as for journals or websites, then end with a comma and move on to the next element. The next element, the location, refers to where your source can be found. In the case of a book, this can be the publisher's location, but this is only used if a book was printed before 1900 or if the publisher is unknown in the United States. If a book is an anthology, a collection of writings, the location will be the page numbers of the source. If the source is from a scholarly journal or magazine, the location will be the page numbers. And if it is online, also the digital object identifier or the URL. Now when you're listing the page number or numbers, use P period for one page and PP period for a series of pages. If the source comes from a website, use the URL for the location. You will end this element with the period. And finally, we will have our optional elements. This is used if more information is needed to find the source. This can be used to identify the original date of a republished work, to signify that a source is a lecture or other public address, or to identify the date a website was accessed. This last one is important when citing websites, as some of them may change over time. That concludes this tutorial. For more videos and resources, visit the library's website. Thanks for watching.